Today's topic is going to be about dream, feel, plan, and do. But before I start off, I probably should give you a little bit of context of who I am, okay? So one of the things that I often want to sort of start off with is kind of give you a little bit of background and history, what it is that sort of qualifies me to maybe stand here in front of you. So I'm a father, that's my little one. That therefore makes me a husband. And with that, I'm basically a student of building brands and businesses, okay? I've a number of them under my belt, and there are a few more there that aren't actually registered businesses. Previously, before starting to build real brands and real businesses, I spent a lot of the time in sort of the merchant space, pre-registering businesses, but those ones are all registered. I went to SFU. Graduated with a degree in kinesiology, finished a co-op there. In high school, I did a junior achievement program, and it's nice to see that that's continued on in BC, and it's continued to thrive really well and helps people in high school to be prepared for the business world. But most of my education comes from the School of Hard Knocks, so that's real life, things that you come across as a business owner that no business degree could ever teach you. And so what I've built is an 18 plus, it's going on to 20 years now, 18-year-old plus business, 2 six-figure businesses, okay? 3 award-winning brands, 2 teams in 2 different type of industries. So one is on our current industry and one was in the health and fitness industry. A community that led to monetization. So those people who start communities, generally like a forum or whatever, don't really know how to monetize. We were one of the few that were able to monetize that. And a BNI chapter was in the brink of meltdown, and I brought it back to health in one term. But I have had losses. And the losses are great. So I've had 3 failed ventures. I've lost $30,000 in one venture alone. $10,000 was wasted on a failed website. $7,000 was wasted on SEO, which wiped me clean off of Google for 2 full years. And it was really hard to come back to. And then over $20,000 in staffing errors in the course of business. So, as much as I've built, I've lost, and I think that gives you just a little bit of context that it's not, I'm not here to sort of just toot the horn, but I want you to make it relatable so that when I'm here and I'm trying to help you overcome problems and things that you guys are facing every day in your business, that I have context in that, okay? I have survived 2 economic downturns, once in 2010 and once in 2017. Both were not very great years in Vancouver particularly, and in some cases, the stock market sort of followed suit. I've seen 5 industry shifts, okay, in my one industry alone. So in the current space where we do production and video and photos, I went from film to 6 megapixel cameras to 12 megapixel cameras to today's cameras are. I've also gone from 1080p to 4K. And each time that you do that, that's a lot of money. So, over $500,000 worth of equipment has been bought, purchased, moved, leased. And so, there's a fair bit of money that sort of kind of goes through that, and gives you an idea that I've weathered a lot of different ups and downs in my market as well as within industry. I've seen 2 partnerships collapse in their different ventures, and I've done 1 business buyout where I bought out my partner, okay? The portfolio client I have, it's fairly vast. Some of them you may know, some of them are very local, some of them are international. And I'm very fortunate to have been able to work with many of these companies. Some of the ones that are sort of most prominent are maybe the Canadian Red Cross, BDO, which is a local accounting firm, Langara College. Some of you guys may know Sotheby's and or Bosa Properties. So some of those are clients and some of the things that we hold as a portfolio. We have won awards in multiple categories, in multiple industries, and multiple avenues. So more so just to let you know that it's about not only building a brand, but building a brand that has a reputation. But at the end of the day, it's not what I do, it's what I want to help you achieve, okay? And that's what's really important to me. Is the reason why I'm here is really I want to help you guys get a leg up, do something that is going to make an impact and make it valuable for your life dreams and goals, whatever that might be. And so the reason why I try to do it, and I do this in all sorts of spaces, is because I like seeing people succeed. It makes me happy. It generally does. Like when I see somebody doing something that is doing well for themselves, I'm genuinely happy for them. And I think that is one of those weird things that like really just kind of turns my crank. I really like doing it. And then on the other half, it's because the game is really set up to lose. The statistics are staggering as a small business owner. Okay, less than 5% will survive past 5 years, and that's just the Canadian statistics. If that's the case, then you're technically set up to lose. Like starting it, you have these grand dreams, or everybody sells these courses and things and tells you that you're going to be this amazing person, and that's not really necessarily true because there's so many variables that go into it, and it's really heartbreaking to see people who really are passionate about what they do not being able to succeed, and then watching people who shouldn't succeed because they're just really shitty people, making heap loads of money on the backs of others. And so for me, it really is that balance. And because the game is so deeply set up for the small people to lose, I desperately want them to win. I like the underdog. So like, if you have like the really great team on one side and like the small entrepreneurs, the little team, I'm going to root for the little team. And that's just sort of how I roll. And I think that's really sort of context. Because at the end of the day, if we can win together, it'd just be so much better. So with that, I'd suggest that maybe you could follow free. All the other content that I go through is free on Instagram TV. So you guys can go ahead and follow us there, and I will show you that at the end, but I'm going to go into my actual presentation. Like I said, I want to talk about the dream, feel, plan, and do process, and I think it's really quite important if you're setting out goals for the end of the year and for next year, because when it's written, it is real. And I think this is where a lot of people go, oh, it's in my head, I have it in my head, I know what it is, and when you know what it is in your head, it changes. It changes. If you don't tell anybody, you don't write it down, it changes. And that's the funny part. It's like, oh, I said $30,000 was my goal. Maybe like 6 months later, maybe that was like 20,000. And you just sort of convince yourself because it's not real to you, right? And I think that when you write it down, you have it physically there in front of you. You see it every day, and it starts to eat away at you because then you kind of go, oh. It's there, and like maybe if you're living with somebody, your partner sees it. In our office, everybody has one beside their desk, and then I have this massive one that I put out in our family, like in our bedroom, so that like everybody sees it, and so everybody gets to poke fun at it. And I think that's really important because it just keeps me accountable. It's sort of like, so like, how is the weight loss going? And it's like, yep, got to keep on it, got to keep good because somebody else is watching. It's just the accountability piece. But the first thing we want to do is dream. And so I got handouts for you guys, and we're going to do some exercises, and we're going to kind of discuss it together because I think it's important because as everything I just said, if you don't write it out, it's not going to happen. So, and Thomas, you're not immune to this either, so you're going to do it just the same. And if the other person comes, they can just kind of follow along. So the first thing we want to do, write dreams. And dreams are important. Now, the more specific the dream, the better it is. And the reason why is because when you start to imagine it, it starts to become real. You start to develop keen emotions to it, okay? And so what I want you to do is I want to take a look at the first couple of them. And these are just really surface level questions. I mean, if you want, you can go extremely deep. If I do coaching with people, as I've done with some people, we go very, very deep. So I want you to answer a couple of those questions up top there. Put your thinking hat on. What would you do for work? Would it be where you are now? Would it be something else? Do you want to open a business? Do you want to get out of this industry altogether? It doesn't matter what your answer is, but what if you had a dream, if you had to live out your perfect life, what would that look like? Okay, what job would you have? Then after that, how much would you make per month? Okay, so, and there's no absurd number, okay? You want to make $10,000 a month? You can write $10,000 a month. You want to make $100,000 a month? Put it down, okay? It's important. What car would you drive? And I use this one as an easy one because most people can imagine their car. It's the same car that you look at every time when you drive down this, oh, that's such a nice car. And you keep going, it's like, oh, I wish I wanted that car. And every time you see the car, you just kind of, lust after it. For my wife, it's a Tesla, right? She drives by like the Tesla X, and every time she sees one, she's like, oh, I want one. And over and over and over again. And it's like something that's just emblazoned in her head. So what does that for you? When you drive down the street or you're in the parking lot and you always look and it's always the same car. What car is it? What color is it? What is the seats? Are they leather, right? Is it the sport model? Is it a blue car? Is it a white car? So you're going to write things like that down. Then what does your house look like? Do you want to be a big house, a little house? Do you want to be in an apartment? Do you want to be beachside? Do you want to be mountainside? Do you want to own something in Cole Harbour, or do you want to be up in the British properties, or do you want to live out in the country and have acreage? Where do you live? Maybe Vancouver isn't where you really want to live. Okay, so we're going to fill those out too. And then what do you do in your spare time? And we're not talking like just reading, but like genuine hobbies, things that you find deep passion in. So if you're a sport junkie, what type of sports are you doing? Are you going up to the mountain every week? If you're playing badminton, are you playing badminton every day, every week? Are you knitting? Are you playing video games? Are you reading? Whatever it is that you can see as part of your life. And then I think the next one is probably my most important one, the one that I feel will bring you great insight to what your life will look like, is the top 5 people. Okay, the top 5 people you would spend your time with. So when you have answers for all of them, put your pen down, and we're going to go and ask a few questions. And if you don't really know right now, you can put something basic. Just start somewhere. And this is the real key, is because a lot of people forget to dream. When you're a kid, you dream. You dream of being an astronaut, a superhero, whatever it might be. And as you age, what happens is that disappears. That creativity disappears, that drive disappears, because you realize maybe superheroes don't exist, right? And it crushes your soul, and you kind of, as the world shits on you and tells you can't do this, or you're not good at that you start to shrink, and your dreams start to disappear. And the problem with many people is because they don't have dreams anymore, that they start to fail. They just kind of float by. But the people who excel have dreams, and sometimes you just need to awaken it by thinking about it, by giving you a space to think about. So it's really important that you do this. And afterwards, after you guys take these home, I hope that you guys will flesh it out in full and write your own little thing, create your own little vision board, because that's really what's the powerful piece of it, okay? So everybody got something written down in each one? Okay, so we'll start off with Thomas, because Thomas is the lead cat here. Share with me one of the things that are in your dream.
The place that I look like.
Okay.
So I think I want to get into a low-rise condo, 2-bedroom. It has to be in the top floor, the highest, with a small amenity room. Usually it's just gym. No need to be super fancy, just a small one. But this house needs to be walkable distance to grocery stores, like convenience, so city-like. So that's why related to the second question, where do you live, is I will choose Richmond. Yeah, because it's pretty much the things that I like to do is already in Richmond, and it's easy to access to. So yeah.
Cool, excellent. And then we're going to go to, why don't we go to you?
Sure. There's a couple of things that I kind of have a pretty good idea. There's a couple of things that I don't. I would like to open a cafe. That's something that I've always wanted to do ever since I was young. I kind of have an idea what it might want to look like and where it might want to be on the corner of a street kind of thing. And I think that kind of leads to, hopefully with opening up a cafe, I'll be successful, and then I'll be able to bring in income. Then my dream house would be a rancher. It doesn't have to be big, but just a small rancher, because I actually don't like levels in houses. No basement, no nothing, just a rancher. Have a front yard, backyard, so that my kids can run around when I do have them. It doesn't have to be right on the water, but it can be near a water, like a body of water, whether it's lake or ocean, so then I can go walk down it. I think ideally I would like to live in the Okanagan by that time, because that's where I would like to maybe settle down when I have kids. But if not, White Rock would do. It's near water.
It's near water. Yeah. You'll find ranches there.
Yeah, exactly. So
Good. That's excellent. Excellent. And so, don't be afraid to keep fleshing that out. What does the rancher look like? What does your business look like? Is it going to have like stools, or is it going to be like a small cafe? Is it going to be like rustic? Are you going to have cats in there? Are you going to have like? There's so many varieties of stuff out there, and the more that you can grasp onto it, like your cafe, is it going to be a food cafe? Is it going to be a coffee shop? Like, what is it going to be? And the more that you can dig into it, the more that you can start to see it, feel it, the stronger that desire is going to be. And I'll get to it a little bit later. So how about yourself?
My dream place is a penthouse loft in downtown Vancouver
Excellent.
with 2 floors and a balcony. What's the top called?
It's a patio, a deck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
You're going to have a spiral staircase in the middle of yours?
uh,
Or are you going to have like the straight zigzags?
anything would do.
Anything will do, as long as it's downtown, right? And it's making good money. Okay.
And then
So when you say downtown, are you thinking English Bay? Or are you thinking Cole Harbor? Are you thinking the Yale Town section of stuff? East Bay. The Woodwards building.
English Bay.
English Bayside. Excellent. Excellent.
And then I want the top to have a fireplace so I could invite some friends over.
Cool. Excellent.
And then I want a big master bedroom.
Excellent. Excellent. For the other part of the party. Got it. Got it. Okay. And how about yourself? And you can start filling that in because I'll ask you. Yeah, so take your time. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
I would want to live in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
Probably near the Oak Ridge area.
Yeah.
3 stories. The basement would have like a mini gym and then living room on the floor, on the like main floor, and then bedrooms like upstairs. And then I would still be self-employed, do life insurance and investments.
How much money are you making? Like, what are you talking? 6 figures?
Yeah, hopefully 6 figures and
More than 6 figures? 7?
I would want to make like
Be real. This is dreaming. This is fun. You don't have to be realistic about it. And that's the fun part about dreaming, okay? So this is what I really want to hammer home. What you're trying to do is you're trying to be realistic. It's like, I could get there, but I want you to dream. And dreaming does a few things, because what dreaming actually does is it primes the brain for receiving, okay? Because if you're already thinking hard about it and trying to knock your dream down because you think it might be outrageous, or that you think when you say it out loud, you're like, oof. Like, who would have guessed a person who owns an electric, like a battery operating company who makes cars that are electric would want to put a person on the moon? And everybody would have thought he was crazy. But guess what? One of the largest IPOs. He did it. Elon Musk, right? Same person who everybody in the car industry said, you can't build a car like from scratch all over again. And he did. He built it from the ground up. He built it from the battery because everybody else thought it would be too expensive to reverse. And so they just used whatever they had and reverse engineered the battery in it. But he built it from the battery up. And so he just killed everybody. So don't be afraid to dream, right? Because dreaming really, it primes the brain for receiving, and it'll help you visualize. Because every time your brain tells you to stop, you stop. Like, you stop visualizing because you are already killing your dream inside you, right? Because you fear somebody will laugh at you, you fear that other people will judge you. But if you fear it, then you will already have lost the game because you don't think it's possible. You've already killed your own dream without ever trying, right? So dream big, right? And as we go along, you're going to see how we start to work and chip away at that dream, okay? So now I've given you a little bit of chance to write down. So you're going to tell me, where would you like to live? And she's so into it. Like, where would you like to live?
Actually, I like to live in a hip city.
Yeah?
Something like New York.
New York, excellent.
I don't like the cold weather
Mm-hmm.
in the east.
Okay. So you'd like to live in LA? Got it.
Yeah.
LA, San Francisco. Okay. Yeah, maybe not San Francisco. It's a little windy, but okay. So yeah. So let's say LA. Okay, and what would you live in? Are you living in a house, a condo,
I would
Malibu,
live in a penthouse.
penthouse?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you don't want to do yard work either. Yeah. At that point, if you can win, you can get a big house and just have landscapers. That works too. Okay, cool. Tell me a little bit more.
What else?
Are you gonna be by water? Are you gonna be like more inland towards the mountain?
No,
You know,
the
look
city is
right-
fine. I like to be in the metropolitan city.
So you like easy, convenient, like everywhere central. Yeah.
So
Okay. Cool.
I can be in touch with everybody. So when I have time, I can just go and watch a class.
Excellent. Okay, so keep on that. And so here's the fun part. Okay, after you write this stuff out, what I ask you to do is create a vision board. Okay, a vision board is quite simply just a bunch of pictures that you clipped out. Print them. Go if you want a Tesla, go to the Tesla store. Fun. It's fun. Go test drive or whatever, but then go pick up a flyer, cut it out, pin it on a board. Okay, it's strong, it's powerful. It is. It's really, really powerful. And sometimes if you don't have a picture or you can't really explain it, write it down first, right? Go through magazines, whatever it might be. Search on the internet. Like go on house.com. Like you'll find your dream house somewhere in there, right? Take like pictures. And the reason why is again, it's visual. It's priming yourself to see it, because what happens is when you see it, you start to develop emotions, a connection to it. And if you guys haven't been in Thomas's room, you'll see that he actually has certain things on there, right? So here's the power, okay? At one point, I wanted to cash a $10,000 check, just a single person, a $10,000 check. And so I wrote, payable to 360 Media, $10,000, okay? And I pinned it on the wall. And every day for 7 years, I saw it, I saw it, and I saw it. I go, nobody's gonna pay me $10,000 in one single check. In 2012, I was fortunate enough to climb to the very top of Google with the help of a person in SEO, and I got a phone call, and that phone call came from Procter & Gamble in the UK division, and in one check, that was $35,000 Canadian for a 5-day project. And that's the power, is because you keep seeing it and you keep attracting it. So you keep working hard. You keep visualizing it. And so that weird internal drive that's like, oh, I'd really like to see that. I'd really like to see that. And when you come up short, your whole body changes. Your energy changes. Like, so short, right? Like I remember trying to climb up to $200,000. And 1 year I came to $197,000. And December 31st came and I couldn't find another thing to hit it. And only a week later, I got the other $4,000 on a project that I had pitched maybe 2 months back, and he was late. But that urge killed me. And so for the year after and the year after, I kept chasing it and chasing it and chasing it. And finally, I beat it. I beat the $200,000 mark, right? And it's because it's weird. You have this weird connection because you've created so much visual context in your brain that you've now developed this very visceral feeling about what it is that you want, right? And that feeling is super important. Feeling is where you tie in the neurological connections of what it is that you've dreamed about and put it into a tangible emotion, right? If you want a new car, sit in a new car and think about what that car looks like. Sit in the car. Sit in as many cars as you want until you find the car. You go, this is the car I want. Okay? Feel the leather. Smell it. Touch the steering wheel. Okay? Take pictures of yourself in it. And then print one and put it on there. Okay? It's powerful because all it does is it reminds you every single day, that is my dream. That's what I want to chase. But when you go, I don't know, I'm just kind of doing stuff and like, I want to be rich. Well, you know, I want to make money. Well, here's an extra $1. You made extra money. Like, there's no tangible part to it, right? And so you give yourself the excuse not to pursue it, right? You say, I want to make more money. Sure, an extra $10, another extra $1,000 a year, you made extra money. You're happy. Are you? Not really. You have real dreams, but you keep suppressing it. So write the dreams down. That's how powerful it is, because when you write it down and you visualize it, like it's so incredible. And it's something that I can't stress enough. I think that if you guys, I wanted to go get you guys magazines to do here today. I just didn't have enough time. I was running around everywhere trying to do the deck and do all this stuff, but I really wanted to bring a bunch of magazines and lay them on the table and let you be kids and just like cut out whatever you wanted. So I really do think it was that important. If you guys could go print out stuff, whatever it might be, and it changes. Over time, things might change. You might realize you really didn't want the big house, right? Or you didn't want the car, or something else changes, and that's okay. Just put the new dream up, right? It's okay to switch dreams. It's not like, just because you have a dream and you don't get it or you change it doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means that your maturity level has moved to a different course of direction, but you can still have dreams. And the dreams are what makes you alive, powerful, very interested in the world around you. What happens is you create an emotional connection by having those dreams and tying it into all of the stuff that you've got, and it's so powerful. Like I've taken it a step further. I don't suggest that you go and do like something stupid like I did. I printed up a $400 metal print with my dream board on it, all the things that I believe in, all the things that I wanted to serve, and every year on the bottom I have a picture of my family in the middle, and then all the goals on the side, all of them. And they're written out in full. My wife thought I was hokey. Like for the longest time, she's like, "This is ridiculous. It sits in the middle of the room. It's like this. It's monstrous. It's bigger than this." And it just sits there and it says, "I will and I live by," and all these things. And my wife's like, "You're it's just weird." But sure enough, one by one, she starts to see me tick them off, and she's like, And guess what? So she added a goal of her own onto my board. So I have a weight goal, and then she has a weight goal now, and guess what? This year she beat it. She beat the weight goal, right? And it's just weird. It's how it perceives, right? And at first people might laugh at you if you put it in the office. I'm pretty sure some people wonder why he's like a stack of money in a picture or whatever. But the thing is he sees it every day, and it just reminds him that's what he wants. That's what he wants. And if he changes, great. The next part is planning, okay? And so the reason why we start with dream first is because everybody tries to start with plan first. But you can't plan if you really don't know what the end point is. You're just like, oh, I need to do better at my work. I need to take a course, But then, how often have you heard a person who has done all of this great work in one field, and then one day just said, I'm done, and they go be a lobster farmer or something weird, way off course. They changed gears because what they were pursuing was a plan, but not a dream. And so if we start with the dream first, it becomes easier for you to plan, okay? And then we break it down. We break it down and we make all sorts of webs about how to make that plan work. Bite-sized pieces. If it's $100,000 that you want to make in a year, what does that look like? How many insurance policies do you really need to sell, right? How many people who are in the financial planning side do you need to have? What does that net worth look like? How many calls do you have to make to do that, right? How many people do you have to meet? What is the size of that, right? And then you start to realize what you need to do. Then it becomes tangible, right? Instead of, oh, well, I didn't make my quota this month. You didn't have a strong enough tie to the dream. If you knew what the dream was and the dream gets worked backwards, you go, okay, well, maybe to open a shop, I need $30,000, $40,000 to just have the equipment, but then I need another $70,000 to have for rent and a 6-month, sort of runway, right? So what does that look like financially? Okay, so how much do you have to save, right, in order to do so? And this is the other problem is if you didn't know, and that was just the dream, and you didn't know how to do it, you wouldn't save. And then you'd be like, oh, it takes me forever. I'm never going to get this dream, and you just kill it. But if it was powerful enough, you go, I'm going to carve out 35% of whatever I make, and I'm going to bank it. And guess what? The long-term effect of that is just like what you're telling your clients to do, is to carve out a little bit of money, bank it away, and guess what happens as it grows? You get that dream, whatever it is that you are. And so we're just reapplying it from a financial aspect in your world to your real life. And you're using the real life goals to now break it back. So pick one. I would imagine that you guys should pick whatever. If it's a house or you want to pick with something small like your favorite car, start with that, right? How much does it cost? What would you need to do currently in your life in order to do so? Would you need to make more money? Would you need to save more money? Would you need to give up a habit? So take one item for now and work on that. And so now while you guys are making the plan, you'll notice that you guys have only put on maybe one path to your plan. So as you'll read in the thing, you want to make a massive action plan. So that's fail-safe, so after fail-safe. So what if you couldn't save 35% of your income to go get that car? What else could you do? Pick up an extra job. Pick up one less coffee a day. You know? And so what we're doing is we're creating all different avenues so that you have no excuses. That if one didn't work, that you could go to another one. Like for me, when I had a weight loss challenge, I wanted to lose 30 pounds. And so I tried. I went down a vegetarian route, and that wasn't very successful. I went down to a low carb route where we weighed stuff, and that wasn't successful. But I didn't stop. I just said, okay, well, maybe I should do more exercise. And that didn't work really well because I got busy, and then I wasn't able to do so. And so I didn't stop. I kept going, and I kept finding other ways to do so. And then I came onto a specific diet where I'm on now, where I've dropped 20 pounds. I've been able to add a little bit of exercise, but I didn't stop. And that's the thing is don't keep one direct path, because life doesn't give us direct paths. It gives us all sorts of paths. So if you think that there's going to be a roadblock somewhere, make a new branch, move off somewhere. So if that didn't work, what else could you have done to do X, Y, or Z? Okay. So now you notice that in the plan section, I never asked you the time frame, right? Did everybody notice that? Okay. How many times have you had a person who's told you when you write goals, you should have a time frame? Right? 3-year, 5-year, really common, 6 months. I don't believe in that. Okay. And the reason why I don't believe in that is because everything changes so rapidly. Okay. What happens today could be gone tomorrow. Okay. Your industry changes, but what shouldn't change is the dream. Okay? Or what shouldn't change is the final end goal of what you want. And it shouldn't matter how long it takes for you to get there. Your journey will be your journey, but as long as you have that clear thing in sight and you have a plan to get there, it doesn't matter, right? You're doing it for you, not for the next person, not to show off to somebody else, right? Because at the end of the day, the people who do and execute all those things are the ones who are further ahead, and people look at them as oh, they're heroes. Well, they're not. They just had really good goals, really big drive, and they just executed nose to the grindstone every single day, doing one task at a time. And next thing they knew, when they woke up one morning, they made it. Okay? It's about small 1% wins throughout an entire course of your career. So don't put too much emphasis on time in your plan. Know that the plan is flexible, because today you might be alive and well, and tomorrow you could be hit by a car, and you could be disabled, and everything changes. So where's your 5-year plan? Guess what? A lot of that stuff, you could probably still find a new direction to go around, and that's what's important, right? It's being flexible with your mind. It's the creative aspect of it, okay? So we're gonna have some fun with this. I'm gonna throw you some really big, deep wrenches, because I wanna see how you guys react to your plan and how you can change the course of it, okay? So again, I just like to pick on Thomas because Thomas is here. So Thomas, start with a plan. Tell me a little bit about what it is that you wanted to pursue.
Sure. So back to my original question, the apartment that I'm looking for. I know for the Richmond 2-bedroom apartment is going to cost roughly around $800,000. So then roughly for 20% down payment, that means I need to save at least $150,000 to $160,000. Hopefully I can do it, because I'm actually want to do it as fast as possible. So hopefully I can do it in 2 years. That means I can save $80,000 per year. In order to do that, I pretty much need to make around $200,000 per year, because I know my spending. So if I can make $200,000, I should be able to save that in $80,000 per year.
Perfect. So now we're going to break that down, okay? So what does $200,000 a year look like to you? What does that mean in terms of bonuses, in terms of number of policies, or the type of clients that you need to have sign on a per annum basis for your residuals?
Yeah, so pretty much that for new business, roughly around $4 million investments, and plus, roughly around, probably around 20 to 30 live cases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and so if you have that original amount,
Yes.
How many clients would that equate to, and what type of net worth would each of those clients need to have that where you're currently operating?
Yeah, so pretty much that I need roughly around 100 clients for this need to generate roughly around of, let's say, $2,000 of commissions on either on investments or on insurance.
Okay, so now we're gonna go down further. So you guys listening, right? You guys following along? Okay, so this is how far we go down the plan. Okay, so now how many people do you need to talk to in order to get that 100?
I think roughly it's usually roughly around 3 times. So every 3 people that I talk to, usually one person will say yes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 300 people that you technically have to see. Okay, and how often do you have to go out to find these 300 people? Like, they're 365 days in a year. So, right?
Yeah.
So how many people do you meet in a day?
Yeah. So technically speaking, it's actually sort of either one person per day, or let's say a week. I need to see 5 days, Monday to Friday. I need to see 7 people.
Cool. And so how do we generate that?
Yeah. So that means usually I have three to 4 funnels. Number 1 is through social media to reach out to the people that is unknown. Number 2 is through my existing clients. Number 3 is through referrals. And number 4 is actually from my others, like funnels, for example, my badminton groups, my existing center of influence who refer me clients to me.
Okay. And so now you're in sort of a managerial role, right?
Yes.
You have a team. So now they're starting to eat away at your time because they need help. They need to get to their dreams. And now you're suffering. How are you going to get around that? Like, so that you don't phase away from your goal. Like, what other things could you put in fail-safe to make sure that that happens for you?
That I don't have to plan.
Yeah. So this is what we're doing, right? So, because it'll eventually happen, right? Because if it was smooth sailing, it would happen to everybody. And so what we want to do is we want to find the roadblocks, all the things that could possibly stand in your way to do it. And how are you going to overcome it? It just makes you pliable. We're not saying it will happen. We say, what if it does happen? Because a lot of times when it does happen, it takes the wind out of your sails. And you just kind of go, kiss the dream goodbye, right? And it happens to so many people. Right? And this is why it's important as we go through. You see how far I dug down, and he had a number. Like, a lot of people don't even have that, right? But then the reality is now he knows. It's like he needs to see almost 2 people a day, almost, right? To get that number, right? That's a lot of time. I mean, he might not see his wife, right? Family. There's lots of other things, right? So how do you expedite that, right? Or how do you amplify that? Maybe that means that he has to go to a new tier of people. Instead of the people that he's working with now, maybe net worth is maybe $500,000, $1 million. You might need to find people who are worth $3 or $4 million each. And where's he going to find that, right? That's how we figure out how to get to the goal. And we don't need the timeline, because as long as he knows that that's where he's got to go, when he reaches that plateau, a new one's going to show up. Right? Humans are funny that way, right? When you get somewhere, you get a goal, how often do you go, I want another goal, right? You just stretch for it, right? You're like, you get your first car. I'm super happy with my car. 5, 6 years go by, tired of my car. The next car is nicer. Guess what? You get a next car. Or like your first Coach purse, right? You're like, oh, it's so awesome. Then you start to like, oh, Prada purses are kind of nice, right? And then Chanel purses are kind of nice, right? Hermes purses are kind of nice, right? And you just move. That's the nature of humans, right? And so what we're saying is that that's why there's no timeline in it. It's find the goal, move to the goal. When you get to the new goals, you make new goals, make new things that are bigger than you even dreamed of now, which would be awesome, right? Okay, so we're gonna go to the next one. Why don't you share?
I'm still quite new in the industry.
That's okay. We don't justify. Okay, remember this exercise. Whenever you do it yourself, you don't justify it to you. You don't justify it to you. You don't justify it to me. It's just dreaming and it's just planning. Okay, you don't have to feel like, oh, because like I'm new at it. It doesn't matter if you're new at it, right? Because what happens is when you believe it, when you drink your own Kool-Aid and you're really amped about it, you will be unstoppable because you now have a feeling, a connection to it. Right? It doesn't matter. Nobody gives a shit, right? You shouldn't have to give a shit about it because other people are just going to put you down because they don't think it's achievable. But guess what? One day it's going to happen and you say, well, fuck you, right? Because there's so many people in the world who've done the same thing. That's how we get to the world we are today, is because somebody was willing to say, well, fuck you. You don't believe me. I still think it'll happen. And next thing you know, we have people on the moon coming, right? So, keep going. $5,000 a week.
So, the number?
Yeah, right? And so then how are you going to reach 9 people in a day? Do you see what I mean? Now we're getting to the real part, right? Like, are you putting it on social media? Are you spending time to talk to other people? Like, how are you going to get them to want to refer you? How does 1.8 million people going to know who you are, right? So that they're going to think of you when they want to buy insurance, or that that you're credible and not like Thomas, because you want to take business from Thomas because you don't want him to have $200,000 before you get to 10,000. Right? Do you know what I mean? So this is what's powerful, right? Because now you have a plan, right? And you're going to find, it's like, okay, well, if I need 9, right? How am I going to generate 9? This will make you ask better questions, not, oh, I need 9. Where am I going to get 9? Oh, I can't get 9. Well, if you can't get 9, then you're going to kill your own dream. But if your dream is strong enough, you're going to go, okay, I'm going to figure out how to get 9. Maybe it means I hang out at the mall all day long, pass out flyers to get my 9, whatever it might be. There are people who've done it, right? People go door to door. People pick up the phone, cold call. People create websites, funnels. There's tons of ways to get, right? Just ask anybody with entrepreneurial blood. There are 1,000,001 ways to get to a person's wallet book. You just have to figure out how to make it work, right? And so it's now just the law of averages. So then how many hours do you sleep, right? How many hours does it take for you to go put out an extra blog post, go to an extra meeting, to go to a meetup group, to do a talk, whatever it might be, to generate all of this stuff, right? So this is how you're going to do it, right? Powerful? Yes? Good? Yeah? Okay, how about you?
I think in order to open up a cafe.
So you want to start off with what type of things that are going to go into the business, right? Like the startup costs, so to speak, and then what you were going to sell, right? So where are you going to do that? Are you going to look online? What websites are you going to do? Are you going to focus on baked goods? Are you going to focus on sandwiches? Are you going to focus on soups and stews? Like, you got to make a plan, right? So you just start there. You get the first one down. Write down the websites that you're going to go to. How many hours a week are you going to dedicate to this particular piece of thing? 1 hour a week, like hard, like scheduled in. I'm going to dedicate that time, okay? Even if it's 15 minutes, and you say 15 minutes every day or every Wednesday, I'm going to spend my first 15 minutes in the morning researching recipes, or researching about like what ingredients go into it, or like what type of equipment I need, right? And the idea is now you're planning, right? Okay, and we start off, it's like, okay, so let's just say 15 minutes. You're gonna just spend 15 minutes every Wednesday morning. So guess what happens? You get a cold. What are you gonna do? How are you going to do your 15 minutes? You're like dying, right? So where are you gonna make that up, right? And so like what I'm trying to get at is if you make the plans and you make it solid and you make actionable, easy actionable step, instead of just like, oh, I kind of need to research this and I kind of need to research that, what happens? When you say it's kind of like, I need to do this, I need to do that, but it seems so big, and then you get paralyzed. It's like when you go to a restaurant, right? And you open up the menu, and there's tons of stuff on the menu, right? And you go, I don't know what I want. And you look in this side, and you go, well, I like that. And then you look on this side, I like that. And you get distracted, and then you get overwhelmed, and then you go, can you pick for me, right? Or I'm just gonna have what that person has, right? That's what happens. We get paralyzed when we have too many options, right? So the key to the plan is to make it actionable, right? Small, actionable people, bite-sized pieces, right? That's why I say, if you need to see 9 people, how are you gonna see 9 people? Are you gonna carve out an hour of your day every day to make a phone call, to go to a meetup group, to shake hands with 9 people? Your goal is to go to a meetup group once a week, or once a day, and you're gonna spend an hour and you gotta shake hands with 9 people. And right, like you don't have to shake hands with the entire room, just 9, right? And you got an hour to do it. How are you gonna do it, right? That means that you have to make your elevator pitch really, really good, because you only have a minute to talk to these people while they zoom around the room. And what you're doing is now you kind of put all those pieces together. And you just make actionable steps one by one. Because as you make those steps and you make this big plan, you know when you hit the roadblock and you go, I found it, I already anticipated this could happen. So I'm just gonna go this route and keep going, right? It doesn't allow you to stop, right? That's how important it is, because it's so easy to stop when you get overwhelmed and it's too big, right? But I tell everybody this saying is, if you want to eat an elephant, you still eat it one bite at a time, right? You're not trying to rip off a whole leg and try to hold it and eat it. Still eat it one bite at a time, right? And so our dream is the elephant, right? And so we just got to figure out how to carve those down into one small bite-sized pieces, okay? And yourself.
So I want to.
So you know what you need. You have a fear of what you need to add to that mix, right? So guess what happens? Now you're paralyzed. It's too many things on the menu, right? I need to put a website. Great. I also need content. Great. I won't start the website because I don't have the content. You see what happens? Then it just keeps going and going to the bottom of the list because you see it as the elephant and I just don't have time. And everybody still has the same 24 hours in a day. So what do? Start the website. You just create it. Spend a day, roll up your sleeves, do it. Guess what happens? When you finish that website, you're gonna go, yep, it's empty. And guess what? You're gonna go, better fill it. And you're just gonna do one, and you're gonna do another, and you're gonna do another, and then you're gonna get like Thomas, who can't do any more, and he's gonna phone somebody like me, who's gonna do it for him, right? True story, okay? I spend all of my time giving you everything I could possibly give you to be great marketers of your own age, okay? In your whatever capacity you wanna be. All of it's free, okay? I don't charge a nickel for it, okay? And the reason why is because everything I learned, you could learn if you really wanted to. I just had the express version because I spent all of my time because it's completely fascinating to me. And I gave him all the tools and I let him try, knowing that there will be a point where he will just give up because it's just not what he wants to do. And he now sees the value in it. So when I take it over, he'll know what is involved in it and he'll know how to ask the right questions. And for him, it's a learning experience, right? And I'd rather him know rather than him just trusting me to do it, because now that gives him power to ask the better questions. So my urge to you is forget about the content, get the damn website up first, and then start from there. Once the website's up, like if you go, well, I don't know what I need to go there. Well, you do it once, and if it didn't work, you can take it down. That's the cool part about it. It's just like, nah, didn't like that page didn't work. Just delete it and start another page, right? It's fun that way. Like you have time. You have time. My brand through 360 has gone into 5 full revisions in a 20-year cycle. 4 years, every 4 years, basically, it's gone through a complete rebrand, recycle, like all new copy, right? So you have lots of time. I'm still here. It's 20 years. I'm still kicking. But the problem is if you keep thinking about it and you keep thinking the 2 parts are too much for you to handle, you're not going to do either, right? If you really don't want to deal with the website, then just make the content. Put it on Instagram. It's quick, easy, whatever it might be. You don't know what people find interesting. People find the weirdest things interesting. And this is where everybody gets caught with social media. They go, oh, I don't have an interesting topic. Well, some of the largest amount of views for YouTube is sadly a camera that is right beside a person who is studying in a library, and people are just watching this person study. Okay, I joke you not, 1 million+ views. How is that content? The guy is sitting there studying, doesn't even say a word, just sitting there studying. And the clip is like an hour long, but 1 million+ views. So you just don't know. But we're in our heads saying, I don't know if anybody find it interesting. You don't know what people find interesting. I don't know why people find like cats jumping around like in socks and stuff very interesting, right? Like, you just don't know. You just don't understand what goes on. And if you work on just putting the content out there and stop being like, oh, I don't know what to do, and just put it out there, the market will tell you what exactly is worth it or not. You'll get more likes, no likes, whatever it might be. Test stuff, like kids work, like pets work, doesn't matter. It's just content. And remember, marketing is not necessarily just about what you do, it's getting attention. It's sitting in the mall and going, hey, look at me. That's what you're doing. It's just that you're in a digital space. And so what? You put pictures of your favorite purse, your favorite shoes, like what you're eating for breakfast. And you just want people to start to notice you. And then once you get into the groove of it and you start to feel like, oh, people like this stuff, toss a few things in that relate to your work, right? And that's how it builds, right? And that's essentially how it is. So, hope that brings up something for you. How are you?
The car I want costs after after monthly payment and insurance and gas and everything around 4,500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's in 4 cases.
Mm-hmm.
So every month I need to make sure I can.
You're gonna make more than 3 or 4 cases because you got like groceries and stuff too. Unless you're gonna sit in the car and not eat. Or you just go to Thomas's office and ask him for food. Yeah, the freezer's full, so you. Okay, but now we're gonna go. So 3 to 4 cases. How many people are you gonna have to meet?
22, yeah, around 20
Per month, per week?
per month.
Per month. Okay, so where are you gonna find 20 in your world currently?
Probably social media and through other people.
Okay. Okay, so in social media, how often are you posting?
Not very well.
Okay, so then how many posts before you think you're gonna get somebody who kind of like puts a feeler out there for you?
5.
Okay, so in order for you to get 20, there's only like 20 work days in a week, right? Or in a month, right? So how many of those are you gonna have, if it takes 5 posts to get 1 person in the door, you're gonna have to do that times 20. So how many times are you posting per day in order for you to get that traction, right? So you're just doing the math backwards, right? And that's just the easier way to do it, right? That's obviously one avenue, right? So if you say like, okay, well, I'm not gonna get all 20 from the social media aspect of it, good, do it in half or a quarter of it, right? So you still have to know like how many posts it takes to convert those people, right? Do you put out ads? How much money are you gonna spend on those ads to do it, right? And that's what you're gonna end up doing is it's gonna create this plan, right? That allows you to start to piece together what it really takes, right? And then comes to the last part is you'll then realize whether or not you have the stomach to go after your dream, okay? And sometimes it's a hard reality, right? Some people just not, like you have big dreams, but you might realize at the end of it goes, I don't have the drive to do it. And that's okay, because it might just show you that what you're currently doing is not for you, right? And that if you find something that you really love to do, that it could give you the means to do so, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be here. It could be somewhere else. It could be owning a cafe, right? But it's making sure that your drive is really solid. And what it is, you know, in his world as a team leader, what he wants is if you guys are going to be here and you guys have dreams and this is a vehicle to those dreams, then you need to really look at the hard math of what it takes to get that and what it means that you have to do every day. Because a lot of people wake up, especially when you're a solopreneur or when you have very flexible schedule, is you wake up and you kind of dog it. Do you know what I mean? Like you wake up a little bit later because you don't really have a schedule. You don't have to see a client till later. So like I'm gonna tuck in a little bit of grocery here, or I'm gonna go like get my hair cut, or like I'm gonna go do a little gardening or whatever, read a book, and then you do like 2 hours of work for the day. But then you're like, oh, I did so much work. But the reality is you only did 2 hours of work. But you feel like, oh, I did so much. And what it is it's gonna give you that time to audit. It's like, if you have time to go watch Game of Thrones, or if you have time to go watch the Disney Channel, and you're complaining that you're not making enough contacts, you're not calling enough people, or that you're not closing enough sales, then you probably should skip the Disney Plus and work on the other stuff. Do you know what I mean? Right? But if you're completely happy with what your life is and nothing needs to change, then go ahead, watch Disney, right? Or go ahead, go have bubble tea. Spend a couple of extra days like going out to restaurants. But if you really want something and you complain that you don't have time, I bet you if you took a step back, you could audit that time, right? And for you to reach a goal, like it's satisfying for you. It might benefit him to some degree, but he really doesn't give a damn so much because he has his own problems and own goals to go after, right? But ultimately, he's there as the support group for you, right? And if you know what you want, he can help you cut the corners to get there a little bit faster because he's been there and he's done some of that stuff, right? And so you get to use him as a tool, but he can't help you if he doesn't know what your roadmap is. He could tell you how to get to LA, but if you want to get to New York and you don't tell him and he just gives you the directions to LA, you're gonna go, well, what the hell? Like, that doesn't help me. I want to go to New York, but he didn't know, right? So this is why it's really powerful. You can do this every year. You can change it every year, but that tool is powerful because now you know you need to see nine people a week or 20 people a month, whatever that might be. And you go, well, how am I going to do it? If you can't figure it out, you have other people in this business who have, right? And or other external like things. You can buy courses. You can talk to other people who do those things, right? But then now you're going to have real solid, tangible ways to propel yourself to that goal. So in the end there, it's really about doing, right? We make that plan and really it's about actually getting off your ass to go out and do it. And the reason why we make the map is so that if you run into obstacles, you're really not going to have much of anything that could stop you. And the only thing that will stop you is really going to be yourself. I always recommend that you share it with somebody you trust. One, because it makes you have to actually write it and not keep it in your head, which is what a lot of people do. I'm guilty of that when I first started doing it, and it wasn't until I really wrote it down that things started to change, because I would in the car, I'd be listening to podcasts and be like, yeah, you think about this, or audiobook, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, I thought about it. Okay, cool. And you just forget, you don't see it. And you kind of 3-4 months later, you hear the things yeah, thought about it. And I was like, holy shit, I thought about that 6 months ago, but I never wrote it down, so it's just out of sight, out of mind, right? And so then I was like, you know what, I better write this shit down because I'm just continually repeating the same stuff over and over again, but I'm not getting anywhere, right? And it's just the way it happens. So write it down, put it on a vision board, and then share it with somebody, right? Put it somewhere where somebody can look and go, hey, how's that going, right? My staff hates me. My staff hates me because I walk by and go like, hey, I see you wanted to read 3 books this year. How'd that go? I haven't read a book yet. It's September. You got 3 months left to read those books. And it's true, it works, because now somebody's on their ass and they know someone's watching. And guess what? They read the book, right? Or they start the book, right? And it's really powerful. At the end of the day, success isn't overnight. It really is an accumulation of small changes, right? And every time that you've identified the new pathway, that's a small change. And you just have to work at it. You just keep chipping away at it. There are going to be times where it's going to be tough, but because you know what it takes, you know that you just have to persevere through it, right? And as you persevere through it and you get it ingrained in your system and it becomes habit, then it doesn't become hard anymore. Then the next thing becomes hard, right? After you start getting the groove of figuring out how to find 9 people every freaking week, and it just comes like clockwork, everybody's like, how do you see so many people? It goes, I don't know, this is what I've been doing for the whole last little while. But you forget how hard it really was when you first started it, right? Because it's so natural for you now, right? And it's the same with me. People go, well, how do you do all this marketing stuff? And I was like, it's because I've been doing it over and over and over and over again, and I don't even think about it anymore. It's just a reflex. And then when you go, oh, it was really hard when I first started. I spent hours on the internet, hours in books, trying to learn and trying to fail and trying to get better at all these things. But then hindsight's 20/20, because now it just goes like this, and everybody goes, oh, you're so good at it. It's just like financial planners, well, how are you so good at selling certain pieces of insurance or certain policies? It's I don't know, somewhere along the way you found the right story and it just stuck and it became your sales thing. And then you became really good at it. And now you can say it with your eyes closed, right? And that's what it is, right? It's just the reflex. So, but chipping away and doing small changes incrementally is going to change the trajectory of your entire career, right? And so at the end, it's just a quote. It's from one of my favorite people, Tony Robbins. It's deciding to commit yourself to long-term results rather than short-term fixes is as important as any decision you'll make in your lifetime, okay? So I hope that you guys take that with you. I hope it was helpful. If you guys want to connect with me, I'm available. on social media. You can follow free of charge for a lot of the stuff on our Instagram because I put it on IGTV. If you have questions, connect with us, ask us questions. We like to find answers for you if I don't already know them, and make more videos, make more stuff. Okay. For us, we really work on saving you time and making you money by navigating the difficult world of marketing, which to me really isn't all that difficult, but we want you to focus on what you are good at, okay? Do you have any questions? That's a good place to start. Forget the websites, just start with Instagram.
Well, I guess this is more a little bit. So I have two questions. Number one is, of course, usually at the beginning of the year, we do this kind of stuff. We kind of execute it. There'll be some challenges. But let's say middle of the year, how would you kind of like adjust, or how would you tell yourself that, hey, I need to look back to this. How am I doing this stuff?
I wouldn't even do that. I would have it on my board, just like you would, right? And if everybody has it on their board, even better, because you guys have windows, is to tape it out the window in front of your office, because then everybody sees it. And guess what? Everybody's like, hey, how is that badminton going, right? Like, are you going twice a week like you said you would on that? Like, have you met 9 people this week? What's stopping you? It's really interesting at how much guilt a person gets by hearing it over and over again, and that is a really big motivator. It really lights a fire under your ass when somebody notices that you've been slacking because you wrote that I'm going to see 9 people and you clearly didn't see 9, and everybody's noticing and they just happened to ask. And you gotta, oh, I hate it, maybe you should just take it off, right? But you don't, because everybody will know you took it off because everybody else has posted up on there, right? Keeping it accountable, right? But this is what it is. It's keeping everybody else accountable to one another, because humans in general, not everybody, but a large majority of humans aren't able to keep themselves accountable. It just doesn't happen. It's like, I'm just too tired today. I'm gonna skip today. Workouts are the first thing that everybody, it's the best example. Everybody goes, New Year, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna get fit. And the gym statistics show that everybody does really good for January. February drops in half. March is almost back down to the same it was in December. Why? Because everybody goes, I really want to do it, but then everything else gets in the way, and they didn't write it on the board, and they didn't put it out, and then nobody kept them accountable. They didn't have a workout buddy who made them go, because if they were there and you didn't show up, you get shit. That's how it happens, right? If you say, I'm going to make this amount of money, and at the end of the year, and you didn't hit it, and you gave it everything, and you knocked off all of those pieces in place, then at the end of the day, you can go to sleep and say, I did everything I could, and I didn't hit the target. Just wasn't my year, right? But if you looked at it and you go, there's my target, didn't even come close, and holy shit, there's a list of stuff I didn't do, then you don't have anybody else to blame, but you know that you feel guilty that the next year, you better start to do those things, right? And it's just steps. It takes a little bit of time, a lot of uncomfortable conversations, but once you get over that, it's easier. So rather than trying to take it out in the middle of the year, if it sits in the drawer, guess what? Nobody's going to care, right? You just don't see it. You don't have it in your brain, right? And rather than put it on words, do a vision board. Vision boards are way nicer to look at. They're just prettier. Take a picture of Bali, put it up on there, whatever it might be, whatever turns your crank, right? Just put it there, take a picture of it, whatever it might be. It's way more powerful. Yeah, you start to develop real emotion to it. Next question.
And my second question is, over the past hour, I heard websites, social media, and stuff, and I was trying to do. And I know you do a lot of video content. I understand it's because your specialty is on marketing video content. But can you give us some tips? Let's say what are some things that we can do to start first, I guess?
I think for anybody who wants to start in social media and not necessarily not know where they want to focus, is to start just getting in the habit of posting anything. So if it's your breakfast, your lunch, what you're doing in the moment. And the reason why I say getting into the habit of posting is because a lot of people, they just don't post. It's like they take a picture, they forget to post because they're busy or whatever, or like they're so knee deep in something that they forget to like take a picture, right? And then when you stop doing it one time, you gotta, oh, I forgot today, don't worry about it. And then you forget another day, and next thing you know, you don't post, right? And then 6 months later, you go, shit, I didn't post anything for the last 6 months because it just goes by so fast. So I think at first, get into the habit, pick one platform, okay? You don't have to be everywhere. You get everywhere when you get good at one, right? Pick one platform that you think is interesting to you, whether it's YouTube, LinkedIn, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, just pick one. Stick around on it, have some fun with it, learn how to use it, like, and just start posting stuff. Like, start conversations, okay? The other thing that people forget is that it's social media, social being the big part of it. It's not just about you. You're not just beating your chest. It's like, look at my stuff, look at my stuff. Go look up things that are interesting to you. Lots of things have search functions, right? It's like you can go on to Instagram and says, I don't know, I like cats, right? Or I like dogs, I like pugs. So I have a bunch of pugs, like feeds of pugs that show up on my Instagram feed. And I'll like see a really cute picture and I'll like start conversations like, that's a really cool outfit that you put on the pug. And you start improving dialogue and that person starts to follow you. Like it's social. It's like going to a networking function. The more that you interact with other people, the more that people are going to interact with you. And that's where people get lost. People just think, I just need to post it, I need to post it. Well, nobody really gives a shit about you, but they give a shit if you give a shit, right? Do you know what I mean? Like if you go to a conversation and you're sitting there like, and the other guy goes, holy shit, when he's gonna shut up, right? And then you go, that was a lousy conversation. And the guy goes, oh, that was great. I was like, I talked to him about, and the person receiving is like, oh, that guy was dick, and just walks off, right? It's the same in social media. If you're on your own feed and that's you and you're conversating all the time, but you don't go to other people and you don't say, hey, that was really good achievement, or that's a really nice hat, nice hair, right? Or like, I really like your work, right? And just continue to be social with those people, then you miss the idea of social media. You wonder how those people get to millions of hits. It's because they're conversing, right? It's because they're developing that time and effort to do so. Some people schedule time. I mean, at the end of the day, there are examples. I know people who schedule like literally an hour a day to do it. Like they do it at the night, like sitting on the toilet. Like that's literally what they do. I don't know why they sit on the toilet for an hour, but besides the point. But they're in the washroom. They dedicate their hour to reply to texts, like to reply to the stuff on social media, like posts, search things that they're interested in. I know people who like on the fly, and it's like they don't work, and I don't understand that. Just the same because it's very disruptive. But they're just really good at it and they just keep going and they do amazing things, right? It's really up to you what you find useful, right? At the end of the day, it's just about engaging, right? There's some platforms that are sort of more here and like really immediate, like Twitter is a very immediate platform. It's kind of like a news feed. It happens, it's out, people talk about it, and in like 20, 30 minutes, it's dying, like because it's just so fast, right? Facebook, not so much. LinkedIn definitely takes longer for people to really kind of bite into it. YouTube, same. Instagram, same. Like you can put it up and you can wait 24 hours to get like more response and stuff. But like Twitter is like super immediate. Same with Snapchat. It's like under 24 hours you got to be like conversing and looking and stuff. Otherwise it just disappears, right? So just pick a platform that you kind of like. If you want to work B2B, LinkedIn is perfect. LinkedIn, you don't have to do much. You don't even have to post, honestly. You just look at other people's articles. It's like, oh, that was a really good article. Have you considered this? Like, and you're just conversing, right? You're just like, oh, like, I think this point was great, but here, did you consider this point? And what you're trying to do is not to show that person up, it's just creating dialogue. The person's like, oh, I didn't consider that. I was like, oh, cool. And they're gonna go, oh, who's this person? Click, oh, financial planner, interesting, right? That's how it works, right? So social doesn't necessarily mean that you have to post all the time. It just means an engagement process, right? So for us, what I try to teach you guys is, from the social media aspect, is how to conduct yourself, like the right manners to do, and then we can implement all the content for you, but we always tell you the social part is still you. We don't touch it. Like, I don't want to touch it. I tell clients that if you have a person who says, I do like social media management and I'll do everything for you, don't do it. It's a trap, because what happens is that person speaks in their voice and they don't speak in your voice. They might not make you look smart. They just kind of go, oh, yeah, nice hat, dude, right? And that's it. And you're like, I would never say dude, or like clearly like bad taste in clothing, but like that person doesn't care because what they're just thinking is, oh, I engage with this many people. But you would take more care into something, right? So the social part, I always say, you should keep that in your own pocket, right? So if I like say do a set of posts for Thomas, I was like, here are the posts, it's gonna come up. If an answer or if a question comes up on it, you have to answer it, not me. I shouldn't be the one to answer it. But if the content is really interesting, I go, that's an interesting question. I'm going to use that for another video another day or another piece. I was like, oh, you should make a video answer and do that, right? Because it'll answer other questions. So my management is more like curating the content to see how I can make new content, but all the actual physical responses should always be you, right? Yeah. Any other questions? It's an open book. You get like a free like CMO inside your brain right now. So like take advantage of it. You get your Q&A. Yeah. If you have any burning questions related to marketing, business, process, whatever, like this will be your one chance to really get a real handle on it without having to pay a dime, unless you hang out on the Instagram feed and ask questions.
In your case,
Yeah.
So I was actually, well, just like I said, I was stuck on, I used to post a lot, but then I was stuck on what to post because I was being judged for not posting appropriate content that's not related to the business. So from your point of view, does it have to be related to the business?
Do you care about that person?
Whoever judged me?
Yeah. Does it matter? Does their opinion matter to you?
Personally, no, but
Yeah, so then-
business-wise, yes.
No, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, if it's your boss and they don't think it's appropriate, like, here's the short of it. I would believe that most people have a very good litmus test about what they're comfortable posting about their life. And the funny part about social media is people are curious. The thing that management typically gets wrong, or people who are in an older, more hierarchical structure, is that they see social media as a me platform. It's like, look at my stuff, and I don't really give a shit about anybody else, but I want you to look at my stuff. They forget that the part of social is actually to be engaging in one another. So sure, you actually don't have to post as much as you think, but you should interact, right? Spend the time to interact. So if you say, I don't have enough content for every day, then don't post every day, but respond and look up stuff and communicate with people every single day. And guess what? By doing that, you're gonna start to think of content. You're gonna say, oh, that'd be really cool, or like, hey, that was really useful, I'm gonna post my version, right? And it could be like, you saw an inspiration here and goes, hey, I saw an inspiration on so-and-so, and I thought like, I'm gonna add to that, right? Like I'm just gonna add my 2 bits to whatever that thing. You do 2 things. One, you gave that person notoriety. That person goes, oh, thanks, hey, who are you? And guess what? They're gonna go, I'm gonna follow you, because that was a good shout out. And your point was valid, right? So it's just as much as replying, right, to somebody else's thing. That could work too, right? You can have it not necessarily about your daily stuff, right? Just things that are important to you, right? Everybody thinks it's like, oh, I'm a financial planner, I should talk about RSPs today, and he'll kind of know. I haven't told him outright yet, but I'm going to tell you now, is that what you think as content is going to be useful may not necessarily be useful. And there are lots of tools that we use on the web in order for you to curate that, but we're going to spend the time looking at the people who have asked you questions, because I looked at a bunch of this stuff and they've asked questions and there's no answer. And that's the problem, because now they go, well, fuck, you didn't have the time to answer my one question online. Guess what? Why? Because you were just too busy just posting your stuff, right? But your people want to hear from you. Every single post that I've got, every single response that I get, I have an answer. Every single one, right? And that's how important it is. And guess what? My engagement rate is high, higher than a lot of people with millions of views. And the reason why is because I engage in them. And so don't get caught up in the numbers. Don't get caught up in like you need millions or hundreds of thousands of people. You, as a business, really, realistically, need 1,000 people who really, 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 really love you, who love your brand, love the way you do things, just are your biggest thing, biggest fan. If you wrote a book, they'd be the first one in line to buy it. That's what you should work on, getting your first 1,000. by the process of you making 1,000 people who absolutely love your business, you are going to amass more than that in your social media and or business presence, right? And so it's about taking the time to make a person feel valued, because attention in our world comes at a very high price. You're asking a person to take a minute out of their day or like 30 seconds out of the day to look at your content. So A, it either be really fucking good or they really have to fucking like you, right? That's pretty much it, right? Like you won't even give two seconds to a bum who's on the street, right? That's the thing. It's just that we're the bums in social media, right? And we're just asking people to look at me. Give me the 20 cents. Can you spare a quarter is what we're asking when we put out our social media stuff. And guess what? Nobody wants to fucking pay attention to you because A, it wasn't either interesting enough or you aren't important enough for them to give a damn about you, right? Like, don't get into the thing where somebody's at like 1,000 likes because that person could have easily bought them. You can buy them on eBay, you can buy them on Upwork, right? You can buy them on Fiverr, right? You can buy people by likes, you can buy comments, right? What you really want is the engagement piece, and that engagement piece is valuable, is way more valuable than any amount of likes you have. Yeah. Any other questions?
I'm not too sure what SEO is really for.
So search engine optimization, SEO, is how you curate a website or curate the content that you have on the web to rank higher when somebody searches for Financial Planner Vancouver. So sometimes they use like keywords in the copy. So like they use Financial Planner Vancouver within like the written context, so that when a person goes on Google and says, I want to look for a financial advisor, that the people who have the most identifiable keywords in their website show up first. So some people can pay to get to the top, and some people do it organically, right? So we've all seen the ones that are like on Google and the first 2 or 3 on the boxes, that those guys paid for it, right? Those guys paid to get their search engine like ranking up, right? Then there are the guys who are sort of like just underneath those boxes, and those guys are organic. That means that there's something on their website that has clickable material, that enough people have looked at it, found it useful, spent enough time on it, and Google says, this one might be relevant to what you're looking for, right? So that's how it works. So part of it is making sure you have enough copy on it. Sometimes it's a blog article, whatever it might be that's sort of related to that. Reposting on Instagram is okay, but more so you should be reposting with a little bit of information or a little bit of add-on from yourself, right? Not just reposting just because like it's easy, but reposting because you either thought it was valuable, but that person just sees it reposted, but he doesn't know what you thought about it, right? Just like reposting is like, that was a really awesome like thing. I think people should check it out. Or I've totally eaten this cookie here. Like it's super amazing. You guys should try it, right? Like when you add value to it, right? Even if a person posts something like of a basketball shot or a hockey shot and it goes in, it's really neat goal. It goes, when you repost whatever you saw, you go, hey, that was really good. I was at the game. Like the crowd was like cheering. People just, it's just an engagement piece. And the guy goes, oh, like he's interested in my stuff, right? And that's where it happens, right? And it doesn't happen all like right away. It just slowly kind of creeps up. And then next thing you know, you do that consistently for over a year and you're gonna find it changes meteorically, yeah.
So I noticed that you did photog like a series of photographies for
That's my top
Thomas,
photos.
right? Yeah, your chalk photos. And compared to having like personal pictures in the Instagram, I mean not pictures, but posting with ideas with your own pictures versus something that's like not a person, like not a profile picture. Like how do they?
You see the one that's in front of you? That's one of mine. And I post them all the time. They gain great success. You can find quotes that inspire you, and then in the comments, you can write things about why that inspires you, right? People don't think that people read the comments. Actually, a lot of people read the comments. I read almost all those comments. Like I read, when somebody posts a picture of something, I go, oh, cool, what's it about? And I'll actually read them, right? People forget that. Some people just post pictures, but when you post engaging content, so like in a post like that, I would say, so this is one of my favorite people, like this is why that quote is inspiring to me. Here's a part of my story that relates to that. And then I'll ask other people, like, what about you? Share a story with me, right? Like I want to know a little bit more about what you are, right? And I'm not expecting like tons of people to hit. I want 1 or 2, because remember, we're only after that first 1,000, right? So if you expect like all 800 of your followers to like respond, good, it's not going to happen, right? So if you got 1 that responds, treat that person like gold. Like it's like, thank you so much for responding. Like that is a really great story. Don't be like, huh, cool story, and then not respond, because that person gave you some time out of their thing and says like, and your thank you was crickets, right? And that's not going to serve them any well. And guess what? They're just going to unfollow you, or the next time you post, they're just going to be like, well, fuck, he doesn't care anyways. Next, any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Video versus pictures.
No
so you
difference.
said you have Instagram TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you have to have like an interview or something to be on on TV? Like
Nope.
Instagram TV?
Instagram TV is just another platform. It's kind of working the way as social media's version of Netflix. So you can just find a topic that you like and you can watch a program. Like some people treat it like literally like a talk show, which is cool. Like you can learn lots of stuff on it, but then some people just treat it like, hey, look where I'm at today. And it's like, you know, IGTV is great for content that's over a minute. Anything under a minute, then it probably stays on story on your post, is probably more relevant. But once you get to content that's beyond a minute, then IGTV is a non-interrupting platform, so you'll be able to watch the whole thing, instead of whereas like Instagram stories, if you put like a 2-minute piece, it keeps chunking it up in 30-second bites, which is really fucking annoying. Like I just get really annoyed when I watch a video like that. And I'm like, oh, why don't you just put on IGTV, right? It's like it's just so disruptive to watch it, and then cut, and then cut, and then cut, and I'm like, fuck, I'm just gonna like turn it off, right? Or put it on a post, right, where it's like it sits there for just under a minute, and I can watch the whole thing, right? But if it's beyond a minute, IGTV is probably a better platform. YouTube is an extremely long format, very big search engine. So, I mean, you can put whatever you put on IGTV onto YouTube. Audiences are sort of the same, but also sort of different. Like YouTube, I think a lot of people go there to like use as a search engine, right? Whereas Instagram TV is kind of more like still entertainment or edutainment, right? Not like super long. I think the most sort of like successful ones probably hover around like the 10-15 minute mark, whereas YouTube can be like 30 minutes and above, right? Like IGTV, you're just not going to hold your phone for that long, right? Like the content has got to be pretty good. But I think it's edutainment or entertainment. Like IGTV works out really good, and YouTube is just one of the biggest search engines. You can't search really. Like I can't go Financial Planner Vancouver on Instagram. It just doesn't work as well as like something on YouTube where you could put all of that content in. You can put in the captions, and you can put into the description, and that YouTube and Google will crawl the living shit out of it, and it'll show up in the first few boxes, right? So that's where the advantage plays, right? But like, don't expect that you're going to be like this 3 million viewer person right away, because now the algorithm has changed so much that new people entering the space don't really have the same fighting chance. So you still have to be really good, or people have really got to like you, or you're talking about relevant things that people are searching about, right? And what everybody does not, for some reason, understand is that every platform, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, rewards engagement. And the reason why some people are just better than others is because they are engaging. They keep people for longer. They keep people commenting. Like all YouTube, like it's not super smart. It just goes, are people clicking on it? Yes. Are people commenting on it? Yes. Are people liking it? Yes. Good. I'm going to make it rank higher because obviously it seems like interesting content. So people put things on YouTube, but then they don't promote it. They don't tell their friends to click on it. And they don't like, because they're ashamed, or they feel like this weird like thing, like they feel reserved about it. So they don't post it anywhere. And they go, well, why is nobody like, because nobody fucking knows about you, right? Like that's the thing. So what does YouTube do? They just goes, well, nobody clicked on it, and he's not obviously not promoting it, so why should I? Remember, at the end of the day, every business is the same. And if you can understand this fundamental principle, whether you're going to be a cafe owner or a financial planner, you as a merchant are going to save somebody time, or you're going to save somebody money, because those are the two most critical assets a person has. So you have to show them without a reasonable doubt that you can either save them time or you can save them money. So in my world, I can save him both time and or money, right? I can generate him money and I can save him time by taking the stuff that he already tried to do and realize that it took 4 hours of his day, and it would be easier if I came in for 1 hour of his day and then go and produce all the things that it took him 4 hours to do, and he had to pay money, but he knew that that money that he paid came back twice over. So he just signs the check every week because $500 brings him 1,000, right? Like that's the math, right? Like, because the long-term game is if I can't do that for him, then he's going to say, well, I can't afford you, and guess what? You're not going to be. So you lose the game. Whether you're a financial planner who they've realized is like their financial instruments are not rising, they're not gaining money. Guess what? They're going to find another financial advisor, right? So either you're being really good at what you do, and you tell and you show those people like through actions that that's what it is. So on social media, it's showing your expertise. It's not telling them your expertise. It's showing them by responding to comments in a very thoughtful manner, right? By writing articles or writing responses to articles that consider those things, right? That's not my specialty. So as a person who's going to help them, I'm going to go, hey, like we talked about this last time. Lots of people had questions about it. Can we make another piece of that links to it, right? And then I can transcribe that into another piece, and I make it prolific, right? So I make it so that anybody who searches this one term shows up a video, an article, a picture, whatever it might be on the internet. And that's the power, right? Is that like we don't know what's going to be successful until you post it, and then you see what the engagement is, and then you tweak it, right? And that's the power of it, right? So remember, it's not about how you can convert. If you're already trying to think about how to convert a person, you're missing the point. It's the same as when you're trying to do sales in your own business. As a merchant, you don't have to sell. You don't need to sell anybody if you can show them without any doubt whether you save them time or you save them money. And those are the two things that people do, right? Like people buy flowers. Why? Because it saves you a heck of a lot of time being yelled at, right? Right? Costs you a little bit of money, but the peace of mind of not having your wife or your girlfriend piss off at you for the next 3 weeks because you didn't buy something or you forgot their birthday or you forgot a gift, like that's why you buy it, right? You buy a car, right? Because it doesn't necessarily, it might save you time from place to place, but it sort of in a way sort of saves you money because people view you, if you buy a Porsche, right? People see you differently, right? You could drive a Honda Civic, and as much as we'd say like, oh, it doesn't really matter, it's a car. It matters, because if you rolled up in a Civic and somebody's like, oh, okay, you just like in a Civic, like, you know, but he rolls up in a Porsche and he's like, oh, he's Porsche, like treats him different, right? But then it just comes down to who you are as a person, right? Like I could give a rat's ass about driving a really nice car, right? And that's just me personally. So like not everybody's gonna be like me who really just doesn't give a fuck about anything. I would just rather be genuinely there to help a person. And if that person can't see how much I want to help them, then they're just missing and it's their fault. I don't care, right? They're just not going to be that 1,000 people that I can affect and I can help them do something together, right? That makes everybody happy. Yeah, because they feel that you've given them value, right? You've saved them time or money or done something that is you've given a value proposition, right? It's a trade in value no matter what it is that you're looking at, right? So like you said, like I could be helping all sorts of people, like doing all this, and one day they say, oh, I have a book, right? And it'd be really cool if you guys want to buy the book, right? And of course you're like, oh yeah, like this, provided that the book has relevant content and that you found it valuable and you saw the other stuff that we did was valuable, or I did a seminar and you found that valuable, you go, maybe that book is worth picking up. Or it's like, maybe you don't want to buy the book because you already understand what's in it, but you say, hey, I have a friend who could use this book because like they suck and they could use some more information, and you share my book, right? Like that's where the value prop is, right? It's like, but for me, it's the give, because everything I know about social media, you could learn it. Like, just like using a spoon. Somebody taught you, your mom taught you, right? And so like, it's funny, like here's a really interesting sort of play on it. So your mom taught you use the knife, fork, and spoon. And then one day your mom asked you, can you teach her how to like type in an email? And you go, oh, right? Guess what? You're being a dick face because she taught you how to use a spoon and fork, and she didn't go, oh, like, why don't you know how to use it, right? And then you turned around and you're like, oh, like you see how, like, and then your mom goes, oh, and then they feel bad and they don't want to talk to you because they feel like belittled about it, right? Because they thought they brought you value, like, you now know how to eat with a fork and knife, and they're just asking to learn something new, right? And in the social space, it's the same. It's like you want to provide value to those people who don't know what you know, right? And if you brush them off by not answering them or like putting them down or being a real dick face on social media, which can happen, then you can't expect them to be your greatest fans, right? Yeah. Anything else? Good questions, by the way. No? Going once, going twice? Done, thank you.
Okay, so just quickly, just want to wrap up. So thank you, Justin. And periodically, I actually asked Justin to come here to talk for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, because his time is very valuable as well. But I know and I expect that he will be talking for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's because he likes talking, and most important part is because when he sees a question, he really wants to come in and help and stuff too. I pretty much met Justin probably, how I got this started is like 2 years ago. My business was doing okay, but it was like, I know it's kind of a level playing, and that's why I decided to want to take some social media pictures. And that's how I got started. It's like, hey, you know what? I got a Porsche, I want to take some pictures, how much is it? And then he asked me so many other questions. Back then, it was like, wait a minute, before you take the picture, do these kind of stuff first. And at first I was like, oh man, like, I remember the 4 pillars of the why, developing your own brand and stuff too. And there's tons of questions that I don't know how to answer is because I thought it is irrelevant to me. I thought it's okay, even if I don't know the answers, I can still make money and stuff, right? But turns out that, every day or every month when I go back into it, more digging, more stuff, going back to the why and stuff, and surprisingly, the business actually does become better, and more importantly, I do feel more happier compared to last year. Last 2 years, I was in the kind of in a stress mode.
You was grouchy.
Yeah, but this year I make more money. I actually have more work to do, but I do feel I'm happier. It's because I got stuff to do. So, my advice to you, if you're stuck, maybe I can help you, but please talk to Justin. Justin is actually welcome to talk to you one-on-one. And I actually got someone's permission. So actually, Ben actually talked to Justin as well too, and he actually he gave me a feedback that he's found Justin's really helpful. So if you think you have personal or like business inquiries that you don't feel like talk to any one of us, please talk to this guy. I'm sure he's more than really helpful to you as well too. Well, first I say
There's an aspect of it. You can ask him. In terms of understanding sort of where a lot of your problems lie, both in business and your personal, you'll find there's a lot of overlap. And part of it is because if you don't understand your own whys and brand related to you, because you guys are technically your own entrepreneurial spirit, whereas like some people create an entity, because you guys are the real core of it, your personal and your business stuff is really quite much the same. So you'll find some of your personal struggles actually are related to the same things that you struggle with in business. And so when we go through that coaching process, that's where you've discovered that, and you kind of go, oh, so this is why, like, whatever, piss off at my boyfriend, husband, wife, because they say X, Y, or Z. It's because it actually encroaches on a brand value that you might already have, that you might not recognize, but it's something of very visceral, very true, like force inside you. It's like a moral compass. And when you identify that, you realize that, oh, you can use that to your advantage in the business side of things too. I think if you give without expectations and you are generally like keen about what it is that you do, money comes. I think like you can be a great musician and money comes. Like starving artist is only because the starving artist is looking for money, right? And the starving art, like there are artists around the world who make millions of dollars because they just do what they love and they didn't think about anything else. They didn't think about selling it in a gallery or whatever. They just continue to do it and they just continue to share it, right? So the same in your world as financial planners, share what you know. Don't just think about it, because be honest with you, if you think that like you're going to share all your secrets, I'm pretty sure that the thousands and thousands of financial planners here and around the world all have the same fucking information. And it's just, everybody's like, I don't want to be the one to put it out there because what if I'm wrong? So what if you're wrong? If you're wrong, then you can go and fix it, right? Like you just have to balance whatever your parent company has as a mandate that you cannot talk about. But you could talk about other things that are related to it, right? Like there's just some hard things like you can't like state these facts, like that's illegal. But there are things that you could look up on the Canadian websites and statistics. Those things are free for all. You can totally use those things as like, whatever, 30% of Canadians don't have enough savings for retirement. Here's the source, like this is what I think about it. And here's some of the reasons why, right? Like, not everybody's going to be the same boat. Like, just put your disclaimer in. It's like everybody's case is different, but here's a possibility. If you have this, or you know somebody who's in this, babe, come and talk to me, like for something more refined. But this is just a blanket answer. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Cool,
And
no
I got
problems.
something for you.
Oh, no
So
candy. I can't eat candy.
So I know you're on diet, but I'm just gonna give it to you.
I give my kid.
It's actually for Bella and for.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
No problems. Thanks, guys. You're welcome.